The other day, we talked about this conversation, and we thought it would be really great to interview each other, ask each other questions, and y'all can witness that. It's been a journey.
It sure has.
And I'm so excited to be with you. You're an amazing artist. I really appreciate, taking this time to talk with you. And I hope everyone has fun watching us do this.
I'm excited too. Thank you so much, Calida. Thank you for being here. I know you're going on 24 hours of a clock not being correct for your body.
Yes. So, I'm readjusting.
And I really appreciate that. And I think it would be so good if we can remember, how did we meet?
Woohoo! That was...
and when?
I want to say 2002.
Mm-hmm.
We met in Philadelphia.
Yes.
At a fair, the Philadelphia
Black Art Expo. Yeah.
And it was like all of these booths, all these different artists, and I remember your work. So much so that I went back to my booth. My husband was working the booth with me, and I said, I saw this woman's work. It is incredible. Mm-hmm. And I didn't know he was my boyfriend at the time, not my husband. But he surprised me and went and bought the piece that I was admiring. He knew what to do. Yes. Yep. And then he kind of like went overboard in a way. Not really, because I also saw this Elizabeth Catlett, mm-hmm. and he bought that too.
Wow.
We probably didn't make no money. We were buying
Smart
art,
man.
But we just bought those two pieces, and that was, I felt, overjoyed,
yes,
loved.
Yeah.
But your piece has been in our house. My kids have grown up looking at your work, mm-hmm. Just seeing your growth and this career. I got to watch it because we were both right there in those fairs.
At the beginning, I almost feel like we were like the freshman class. Do you remember we won an award at that event?
I remember.
There was something like Best New Emerging Artist. Mm-hmm. We were both in our early 20s. And that was my first big art fair. And I got a piece of your work too, mm-hmm. which was Billie Holiday, mm-hmm. All in Shades of Blue, which John knows has been in our house for over 20 years. So it's really incredible to watch the development of an artist as a human being. You see that art is it's not quick. At least not for you and not for me.
No, neither of us do quick work.
Right.
We're both pretty tedious, and maybe that's why we admire each other so much.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a process. It's a process to get here, a 20-year arc.
Yes.
And a process to make the work that we do that takes us months to complete.
Yes, it does. While we were talking, I was thinking about, interviews and times that we've both, been interviewed. And I've had a lot of beautiful, great talks with different journalists. But I remember when I was just kind of getting on the scene, this writer came to my studio for an interview, and she walked in and said, she was like, I love your work, but I have a question. Why do you paint black people? It doesn't bother me. I'm not upset or anything. Nothing's wrong with it, but I just want to know, why do you paint black people? And I had to control my face and my energy, because this was a reporter, right? So I remember sitting with her, and I said, I'm a black woman. I'm pretty light-skinned, but I'm a black woman. My family are black. My friends are black. My circle is black. Black people are not a minority in my life. When I close my eyes, And when I think of the image of just simply a man, I see my father's face. So I'm painting people. There was a lot of other things I wanted to say, like you're othering me in my space. She, went on, said other things too that could have been pretty offensive, but I kept it together. I have a question. Do people ever ask you that?
I think that is so funny because I'm asked that all the time. And it's so interesting when people don't see you as the same as them.
Yes.
Because I've been asked or been told. I remember having an art show and some people came up and they looked at my work and they said, oh, Black Lives Matter art. And it took me by surprise because I didn't see my art in that way, because especially at the time, all my subjects were my family members.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, immediately when you look at my work, the first thing you see is that they're all Black people. But I want to say that it didn't and wasn't as obvious to me because that was my grandmother and my father-in-law and my children and my neighbors. So when you're surrounded by your own people or people who look like you, you might not be as conscious that you're reflecting the world around you. And I think all artists do that. When
Yes.
I look at, and we talked about that before, but when I look at the work of Picasso, I'm not like, why are none of these women Black?
Yeah.
Because clearly I wasn't in his view, or anyone like me was in his view, or any of the other American artists. Any artist, you're painting what is a part of your environment.
Yes.
So we are also products of our environment. And I have also been asked, well, I don't want to go off too much, but we talked about that when I talk about the artists who influence me, how they tend to be people who could show me the path for my life. So you all may know the work of Kerry James Marshall. And he has this, if you don't know his work, please look it up. So beautiful.
Yes.
But I'm looking at artists like you and like Kerry, who are expanding outside of the United States into the globe. And then I'm looking at how are you doing that? And where are you going? And where are the places that you're received? Now, I may love the work of a non-Black artist, but because they're accepted in a place doesn't mean that I'm accepted in that place. So I'm always looking for the answers. So it's not that I don't like artists of all kinds, but I'm looking at more than just the art. I'm looking at your lifestyle. Where does this artist live? Where do they work? What is their impact? How are they received? And could that be me?
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you think about that?
I'm right.
Whoa.
Okay. Got a vibe in here. Okay. I definitely have a lot of artists I admire. Someone I think of is dear friend of mine, Amy Sherrill. And it's not just because she makes amazing paintings, it's who she is, just like you said.
Right.
She's a beautiful spirit.
Yes.
And I think why I love her so much and her work is because she knows who she is, and she always stays centered in that place.
Yes.
I was trying to think of other artists like that I admire, and I think I thought of Anna Mendieta.
Yes.
I don't know if, look up her work too if you don't know it, but
Yep.
she seemed like a strong woman. And Carrie Mae Weems,
Yes. The Queen.
Queen. Those artists are, yes, I'd say I admire and I think of often.
Right.
Yeah.
Same. I tend to lean towards women artists because if a male artist is successful, that's still, it's good, but it's still not answering the questions for me.
Yeah.
We're mothers, we're
Yes.
wives, we have other people who are dependent on us. So I'm looking at Faith Ringgold, because she was in New York. She had 2 daughters. She was a quilter. She was a painter. She was an activist. She was an actress, a poet. All of the theatrical things that she did. And I also loved that Faith Ringgold worked until 90, who knows the answer? 94, 93?
Mm-hmm.
That is something else.
Yeah.
Like, I think we're so blessed as artists that I don't think that there's a thing that you're too old. You're not aged out because you're not cool. But the older Faith got, the more respect she had.
Yeah.
And that's the arc. That's what I want.
Yeah. It was so funny. I was talking to my mom one time, and she said, I know you can't wait till you retire. I'm like, retire from what? This is my life, and I can't wait to get to the studio half the time. Like, don't take it from me. That sounds like punishment.
No. I want the day to come that there's a wheelchair at the front.
Yes, me too.
And I have all these attendants, and everybody's like, the queen has arrived.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Somebody slowly walks me up on the stage, and I command the space.
Yes.
My body might be slowing down, but my mind's sharp.
Yes.
That's a goal.
That's a good goal. I want that same goal.
Yes.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you, looking at this amazing work here, which I'm so blown away by, the material, what got you into the quilt making in your art?
Mm-hmm. It goes right along with what you're saying, what we're saying. How to survive as an artist. We're all trying to find a way.
Mm-hmm.
And I started out as a painter in college, and I was painting with oils. And when I got pregnant with my first daughter, the smell of the oil would send me directly to the restroom. Like, I couldn't even open up a cap. I couldn't take any of the solvents, like nothing. Then they had, I don't know if you remember, they had a new oil paint that was water soluble.
I think I did.
But it smelled even stronger.
Mm-hmm.
So nothing worked. And one of my professors reminded me to pay attention to myself.
Mm-hmm.
He said, you always dress with all these funky fabrics. You're always upcycling. Why don't you look at the work of Romare Bearden? I went to Howard University, so all this... I tried to say it quick. Okay. And all the museums in DC are free. So a broke college kid like me can spend as many hours as they want at the National Gallery. And I studied Romare. Look, I'm saying it like I know him. Romy. And decided that maybe I could do that.
Okay.
And I had to graduate with that painting degree, so I had to glue fabric on a board. And then after I graduated in grad school, I made a little quilt as a class sample. And then that let me know, that little tiny quilt let me know that I didn't need the canvas anymore. But I had to graduate. And that was pretty difficult when you're supposed to be painting, and now you are collaging and gluing fabric, and that was not accepted. Some people say I paint with fabric, and that was my argument at the time.
Yeah, it does feel that way. It does feel like you paint with fabric.
You're a graduate of another HBCU.
Yes, I am. Spelman College. I wore some earrings. Yes.
And when did you know how much I admire your skills. Calida, you're a master artist.
Oh,
the way
thank
you handle paint is otherworldly to me.
Thank you.
But how did you come to that?
Kind of very close to your story. I was an oil painter, but then when I had my children, I had a studio in my kitchen, basically off the kitchen. And I don't even want to call it a studio. I had this like little area in my kitchen that I painted. And I remember just having like acetone and different materials that go with oil painting, and it was dangerous. My kids are running around, and I feared the smell or the chemicals, or they drink it or something. So I went to acrylic paint, And I really enjoyed how fast it went, and I feel like I mastered the material, so much so that, you know, when people look at the paintings, they think it's oil.
Yes.
And now that, you know, my kids wouldn't drink the acetone or anything, people ask me, you know, are you going to go back to oil? And I'm like, why? I love what I'm doing and how I'm doing it, and I just love the speed that I can get this. It's sometimes difficult to have a color gradiate in a large, you know, on a large stroke with acrylic. It doesn't move as smooth. But I like a challenge.
Yeah.
And I love, you know, how I got there. It was a part of the process with my children.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Are there other ways that your children influence the practice other than the acrylics?
For sure,
Yeah.
for sure. I remember when I was at this one moment where I think we were talking about it. You said it very well to me in the studio.
Mm-hmm.
Like, too many voices were in my head, and I was listening. So my art was all different ways. I'm trying to almost please,
Yes.
you know, trying to please my audience. And that doesn't make great art
Right.
when you're trying, you know. And I was at that moment, and I was trying to figure out, you know, how to kind of have my own voice, my own signature, my own look.
Mm-hmm.
Really, I guess, ground myself in who I am. And I was pregnant with my youngest child. And I remember thinking, oh no, this could slow me down.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember having a conversation with my husband, and he was like, no, this child is going to be the one that's going to give you that push. And he was, you know, promoting that. And she was.
Yep.
I was starting to swim at the time, learning how to swim. I was pregnant with her. And I remember just, you know, even thinking about the water inside of me that she was in.
Mm-hmm.
Thinking of myself in the water and how I felt these moments. And that's when it kind of dawned on me. I wanted to somehow use this experience, this light feeling, this moment where I could come to the pool with so much stress, but when I left the water, how light I felt. And I thought I could talk about difficult and divisive issues and use water as a way to bring people in, where it looks just a beautiful painting. You could take away that, but I could have other layers to that. And I thought of the message that water did for me. You know, it was something that is scary, that could possibly, you know, endanger your life, but at the same time, it's uplifting, it's healing. And I think of that with my life. You know, sometimes it's very hard moments, but you have to breathe and relax and just let it flow.
And on that, I just want to note that there's a piece in the back of the room of a young pregnant woman, and you'll see a green background with a red. The woman is all
Beautiful
red.
piece.
That was originally, the inspiration was a photo by Dana Lichtenberg, a Dutch artist who would go to Watts and photograph people at the Imperial Housing Complex. And she's gone back over decades. But she photographed this young woman named Coco that she said was struggling in her pregnancy. But I don't know what that meant, but if you've been pregnant or you've been around a person who's pregnant, there could be many things. Maybe housing, it's always money, money, money. The worry about your baby, worry about your future, worry about the partner, the baby's father, and possibly worried about herself, her safety. And I chose those red colors in her because I want to show how powerful she is, even though she feels that she is a woman under stress, or she is under stress. I see her as like powerful and life-giving. So the red represents like power, passion. She's a goddess, and she's gigantic. And around her eyes are these sparrows. If you can look close, they're little white sparrows. But I want her eye to be on the sparrow because God is watching over her. And I love the way you interpreted your own transformation in and out, how it came out in your artwork. And I think about that often as a mother, like how powerful we are and how your children, while society can say like they're slowing you down, or you're not gonna have any money, and how are you gonna be this? Now you have mouths to feed, that it's actually the mouths that you are feeding your children that are causing new things to happen in your brain and in your body that are pushing you to these goddess levels. They say, you know, coal under pressure becomes that diamond, but we can all look at that metaphor like right now, we're under pressure. This is a time of great change and uncertainty, but we can choose to harness all of that pressure and transform it into something beautiful.
100%. Yes, yes. Well, I'm going to ask, you kind of touched a little bit on it, but how was studying at Howard? How was
Studying at Howard.
art, you know?
I'm glad you asked that because that does inform the artists. When you say like, who are the artists that you love? Romare Bearden. My professors are telling me to look at Bearden, and they're not saying, go look at the work of Leonardo da Vinci.
Right.
And
right.
it's not that they dislike the work of Da Vinci. It's not good enough. Like, it's not that. It's just that a lot of the professors at Howard were top artists in their own right. But in their era, and sometimes now, a lot of Black artists have another job. So they were professors, social workers, elementary school teachers. For instance, Jeff Donaldson out of Chicago, the founder of the Afro-Cobra movement, was the dean of fine arts. And if you know about Afro-Cobra, it was the African Coalition of Bad and Relevant Artists. It was a group of young, dynamic, brilliant professors who were in their mid-20s. They studied in Europe, in Paris, London, Berlin. They went to Senegal, they went to the Congo. Then they dropped back into the United States, and they're getting these positions at HBCU colleges around the United States. And they're taking all of that bad and relevant and Black empowerness into the curriculum of the school. So it did affect me deeply. When you see my artwork, you see the colors. The Afro-Cobra artists created their own palette that was a mix. It was not European, it was not African, but it was something new, a Black American palette, and they called it Kool-Aid colors. Kool-Aid, we know, is cheap. Kool-Aid, everybody can afford it. So by using that, they're saying, this art is for everyone. It's for the people, and it's for poor people as well. And art should be seen by everyone. It's not just for a white cube gallery. And your art should make you feel good and proud to be Black. Because they came to be in like 68. So they wanted deliberately to be a visual arm of the Black Power movement. So me coming up in the 90s, that's informing the way I create artwork. It doesn't have to be like, it's not like they beat us down and said, your art must do this. But when you see my artwork, you're still gonna see that because those were my professors. Yeah. And when I visited Spelman, just last year or the year before, me, you, and Amy Sherrill spoke on campus, and it was remarkable how much I felt at home. Yes. And what would you say about Spelman? Like, how was that pedagogy? How did that affect your artwork?
I mean, one thing is I felt loved and supported. And I think that's so important to be in that environment when you're learning, you know. your art
Yes,
practice and who you are.
absolutely.
I still talk to my professors at times. I still can call Arturo Lindsay, Dr. Arturo Lindsay. Like, I felt connected. We, they became family. Lev Mills, Charnel Holloway, Toby Martin, those are my professors that influenced me and really told me I could do what I wanted to do, be who I wanted to be. I remember there was one show. I showed you the catalog. When I was at Spelman, there was a show called Bearing Witness, and it was all like this show of black artists, black female artists. And that was so remarkable, that experience. Each of the art majors, or students that were majors in art, was given an artist to kind of take around. And I had Lois Mayalou Jones.
Wow.
It was 1996, and I took her around and talked to her. And in this catalog, in this whole show, I remember seeing Carrie Mae Weems, and there was this one piece, what was it called? From Here I Saw What Happened and I Cried. That moved me, it rocked me to my core, seeing that. And I remember saying, I want to make art that touches the soul, that you feel a spirit, you feel an energy when you look at it or in front of it. And that was so important and so influential to me. But then, I went to grad school after, and I don't want to diss a school here or anything, but being in a different environment that wasn't as nurturing. I remember being asked those same questions. Why are you painting black people? By my professors, though. So, mind you, that interview was triggering because I remembered that time. And having to defend, and I remember there was this one female professor, and she was, I think, really trying to give me good advice that she felt was good advice. And she said, listen, you're female, you're black. If you have children, the chances of you making it's not going to happen. So you're going to have to really think about having kids, because the chances of you making it anyway is super slim. And I remember believing her. And so when I got out of when I got out of that prestigious school, I was questioning everything I created. And it took me a long time actually, to get myself back together. I was like, oh, maybe I'll just make this and, make more commercial work, or maybe I was trying to figure it out because I had that, I wanted to have children, I wanted to have a family, and I had that in my head as if it was a rule. This woman gave me this great advice, I thought, but it set me back. And no one at Spelman had ever said that. I don't think they ever would,
That's something.
That is something.
The fact that they never would, it says a lot.
I don't think so, yeah.
When I was at Howard, I did have one of my male professors tell me, I think I was 5 months pregnant with Timmy, and he told me, well, your energy you're going into the mother thing now. So, yeah, get the hint that this ain't happening for you.
Yeah.
But that's all right. He tried to friend me on Facebook, so.
Did you accept the friend request?
I don't know. I can't remember. Maybe. I don't think I'm vindictive, but maybe I can't remember.
Well, I don't remember that woman's name, I'll tell you that. Who said that to me? I don't even remember her name.
I remember being told that my quilts were not going to sell by a black gallery. They weren't trying to be rude to me. They were just being realistic at the time. When we met, 2002, the G's Bend quilt show was just about to open at the Whitney in New York. And the quilts of G's Bend were all the rage. All of that gallerist customers wanted African American quilts that look like G's Ben, made with worn fabrics, geometric, non-representational, some of them sewn by hand, like all of the things that mine weren't. So they didn't say your work is not good, but it won't sell. And I definitely had tears in my eyes, but what could I do? And this is when you'd have a book, like this is old school, kids. I had a book, and it had pictures of my art in it, and I had to give it over, and they're looking it over unimpressed. And then I actually sent some of my quilts to different gallerists across the United States. And sometimes they would send the quilts back after like a couple months. I'm so sorry, Bisa, but these did not sell. Not that they're not good, but my customers are not interested. And you have to I'm not gonna say I was tough at all. I definitely would cry about that. But I also knew that this is what I could do. I couldn't do the other styles of quilts. And not selling my artwork was hard because I needed money. But then in one instance, it helped me develop my style because it wasn't influenced by what the customers wanted because they didn't want it in the first place. So you might as well do your thing.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to argue with you and say that you are tough. You might have had a moment of an emotion,
Yes.
but you kept going.
Right.
And that's what being tough is.
Right.
You
Yeah.
did it.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that, you kept to yourself. Sometimes you feel that pressure, like to change and conform. I think that's what I was saying before. Like I was trying to figure out what worked, and I was looking too many places of what was working until I had to stop and say, I'm going to paint just what I want to paint.
Right.
And I remember taking time, saying, you know what, I'm going to make some work and not try to sell any. I'm just not even going to sell anything. I'm thinking for a year, I'm going to make work, and I'm not even going to think about selling.
That's a powerful moment.
And that was when it all came together, That's when it really came together. Just having a moment just to make art for me. And after it became like I was the most important critic of my work, I know when it's good, and that's when that's what I'm showing.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's why you and I are sitting here right now. Isn't that interesting?
Yes. Should I go to the titles?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think it's about
we
time.
talked, yeah. We thought we should ask how we came up with our titles. How did you come up with your title of this show, this amazing show?
I love that even though we talk often, but not every single day, and we didn't talk about ahead of time what's your show going to be about, but we knew that we were conceptualizing our shows at the same time, in the same country, under the same pressures.
Yes.
And the title of this show, Hold Me Close, is a page in my journal. It's what I need now. So every piece that you see in here is like a visual diary entry. I want, if you look at the heart in the back of the room, it says, hold me close. And then the next image is a man with his daughter within his coat. I want children to be safe. I want them to feel protected. I love the idea of a parent or guardian, and that's the name of the piece, The Guardian, keeping the children safe. In his glasses, he's reflecting the world. If you can see it up close after we stop, you'll see that he's scanning the city. So he's constantly on alert. He's like a sentinel. But his little child is completely unaffected. Everything's lovely. She's not even focusing on anything. She's just smiling. And when you go to the next one, Coco with Morning Glories, I want pregnant women, pregnant people to feel strong and powerful and be able to grow their children and revel in the strength that you are creating life. You are a transformative being. So as you move through, they are wishes, prayers, musings on us holding each other closer. We should not be pushing each other away at this moment. We should be gathering community and not in factions. It's super weird.
Yeah.
We're all human beings. And I'm old enough that I lived through 9/11. I remember the day that day, suddenly neighbors I never looked at in the eye ever, we were like, are you good?
Yeah.
You need water? Do you have your electricity? Is it working? Is your family okay? This is what we need in this time of crisis, not to be more divided.
I agree, and I love that you went there.
Thank you.
Yes. I love that you went to that space of loving, using love to motivate you. When I worked on my show that was in London, the title of the show is This Time Before Tomorrow. I was thinking of all time and just how what we're going through right now has happened before and it keeps happening and how we're going to learn from it, this cycle. And I was stuck on that. I was trying to think about it. I went to literature. I started just trying to process how did the American identity shift so fast? How does identity shift like that? And what does that do to you? Your environment shapes you. And just thinking of it from that lens, I thought of transformation. And so I made all of these paintings that are more abstracted, because that's how I felt. We're in an abstract time, actually an absurd time.
Yes.
And I channeled that energy. I wish it was all love, though. Sometimes it was rage.
Yeah.
There's a painting in my show, Through Fury and Beyond Reason. I painted that thinking, the body is split. It's almost like fire inside. I posted it, and when I post an image, if you follow me on Instagram or something, and there's no language, I'm probably pissed. I don't want to give off that energy to everybody, so you just see a title. But it's like, I use that, and I have done that. I use, and I see you do too, what I'm feeling today actually fuels me, and I can channel it into my art. I'm very lucky to have that ability to use it. But I'm watching what's happening right now, and I go through all the different phases of grief of what I thought we all agreed that the United States was a place of opportunity. It was a melting pot. That's what I grew up on. And what is happening and what America is, what someone is trying to do to America, we cannot let happen. We're going to have to come together, as you said. And just remember, there's hope in hope. So we have to keep that positive lens. We have to come together. We're going to have to unify. And I don't know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. And I wanted to ask something. Well, you've already said it, and I know you've been asked this over and over again, every interviewer. What is the artist's role in times like this?
I think about that. Like, I think artists are, I don't know, spirit holders. Like, we can channel energy into something that, other people can see or take from it. I think for Black people in particular, we've always been going through different challenges. There was times when I was thinking about my work and I was like, let me go to times when, we had a struggle like this. And I was like, from the time we were on this land, there was something we were fighting against, fighting
Since
for.
arrival.
Since arrival, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we've got to give hope. We have to channel some, energy and express ourselves for others to be able to express themselves. And you?
I agree.
What do you think?
I agree. We have a power.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason why the executive offices are trying to shutter museums of people who are not a part of their agenda.
Yes.
There's a reason why art exhibits have been canceled, artist shows have been shuttered. I want to thank Jeffrey Deitch for allowing us to have this space.
Yes.
To speak. It takes a lot of courage, and we're all under those pressures, so you understand how powerful art is. You mean this picture is threatening your administration? So then that lets you know how powerful this picture is.
Yes.
And we are people who channel energy and put it out. The energy that you have exploded out of your canvases directly speaks to where we are right now. Yeah. The energy that I'm putting out with my quilted images, I want people to get it. I want you to feel good when you see this artwork, because you're assaulted constantly. If you all open your phones right now and go to social media, you're probably, the first thing you see is gonna be something that's probably gonna damage you, just a little bit. And you keep looking at it, and that's cutting down into your soul. It's cutting into your heart, into your humanity. It's making you angry.
Yes.
Make you hateful, make you disgusted, make you fearful. These are not the tools that I read about in anybody's Bible that were good for us. You don't have to have the same religion. You don't have to have the same belief periods, but you do want to be good and feel good. Essentially, you're a human and things that you need. So I'm hoping that what you get from my artwork is something that you actually need.
Yes. Yes, that's a great answer. That's true. I do think social media is damaging. I look at it too much. My family looks at it too much.
Yeah.
I'm start scrolling and I'm like, how much time? I put my little timer on and then it gives me the warning and I'm like, give me 15 more minutes. It's addictive.
Yes.
But
deliberately.
But it's not good for you.
No.
Like junk food. Potato chips are,
It's not good.
You can't stop too, but you can't eat the whole thing. You gotta, feed your brain healthy things, and and we've got to be cognizant of that.
Yes.
And we have to get together face to face more.
Yep.
We have to have more time, with each other.
Absolutely.
And I think it also is a plan. Keeping us on our phone and scrolling will keep you from being out there, talking and thinking and doing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yes.
Do you think we have time for questions?
I think so.
Are we over time?
Look,
He's saying yes.
Do you want to?
Jeffrey, do you think we have time for questions? 10 minutes. Okay.
You have a question? Oh, okay. You want to should I give him this mic? Or is there a mic for questions? Or do you want me to?
I think they could take these. Yeah.
I have a question for, when you were making quilts, did you have, how do you make the quilts? Is
How
there,
do I make it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
is there a step-by-step process?
Yes, it is. That's an excellent question. That's your daughter. You're so cute. I used to be an art teacher, to kids your age too, and I had like a little packet, and it would have everything. The first thing I would say is think of somebody who you want to make a portrait of, somebody who's important to you. And I used to try to steer them away from like Nicki Minaj, but I didn't want to take away the choice. And then once you have a picture, I lay it down on the paper and we'll trace over it. So then you just have shapes. You're gonna trace right on top of your pictures. We're just gonna make a black and white photocopy, and that photocopy, that's gonna be your pattern. After you trace the shapes, it's time to pick out your colors of fabric. That's the fun part. And it could be any fabric that you want. You could even cut up like old clothes, clothes that you've grown out of, your favorite shirt that's too small. You can cut that piece, a piece of it, and use some of that fabric. And then I will show you step by step how to actually just glue your portrait together. That's gonna take about maybe a few days, maybe a day or two in a class. And then at the end of that, then we get the fun part. You get to sew in a sewing machine. Do you know how to sew?
Kind of.
Yeah?
Not really.
But if, no worries, because in my classroom, the sewing machines are there, and then I show you exactly how to put your piece down and sew it. And that's the fast part and the fun part. Thank you. One and then two. Okay. Do you want to come get the mics, or you have a loud voice? Oh, I can shout. Okay.
I love what you said about motherhood, and do you find yourself now, as your children are growing and your relationships are changing, are you finding more freedom now? Because I feel like kind of as that relationship changes, you know, for me, I've been finding more freedom, and for my two, it's kind of scary at the same time. Are you finding that in your careers?
You want to answer that first?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, kind of. Yeah, I think that the demands of a small child is different as they get older. It's a little less demanding. I don't know, but it's always shifts. You know, your mind always worries, no matter what age your child is, honestly. But it does feel good. I don't know, I do have mother's guilt. I want to get home to my, you know, I do think about that. What time am I here? Let me get back just to see them, you know, because I can get caught up in painting for so many hours. So it stays in my mind.
And same, my children are adults, but the worry never goes away. Bigger worries, like relationship dramas, friend breakups, boyfriend breakups, girlfriend breakups. It's always some kind of breakup. I love them dearly, but they can dress themselves, feed themselves, they can work, but that part, your mind is always sort of with them. And we get lost in our work, and then I'm back with them.
Yeah.
Bakari.
Just for Bisa and Calida. So if artist wasn't your career path, what other career could you see yourself in, or what would you want to be? And if you had the same success that you had?
Good question. I think if I did not put myself 100% as an artist, I think I would be, or I would still enjoy being like a Black literature teacher. I love to read. I love the beauty of iteration of words. I think I would really enjoy teaching a James Baldwin class. That would be very fun. And I think I could do it pretty well. Even though I don't teach, I think I would.
And I would probably have stayed teaching, though. I mean, art teaching is my love. I love children. I love being able to share something. I also like teaching adults, too. I just like seeing people do something that they like. But I have this alternate identity that I'm like Christine Anandpur, her. and I work for like some foreign thing, and I'm a reporter, and there's like bullets flying around. I'm crouching, and I'm telling you, it's only me who can tell you. But that's happening in another dimension, apparently.
That's a good question.
Do we have time for one more, or are we kaputzi?
Where do you want to go here? Or?
I think one more.
What sort of music do you like to listen to when you work, when you do this?
Well, my husband, John, is a DJ, so he can really throw down. He's a hip-hop DJ, but the roots of hip-hop are soul music, so I'm super old school, if you can't tell. Aretha, James Brown, Martha Washington, just all of the soul singers, Tina Turner. I'm super old. No offense to anybody who feels like those are not old celebrities. Sorry.
Let me think. I listen to a little bit more contemporary, but soul, R&B. I have my daughter, Sage, she made a whole playlist for me. I play that a lot. But I often listen to books. I listen to audiobooks. That helps me go away, if that makes sense. Like, especially first of all, it has to be well read, But if I have a book in there and I'm in the story, my hand just flows, and I'm not really thinking about each stroke. And then I also lose time, I enjoy that, getting lost in a story, and then it helps me with my work.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Calida.
Thank you. Thank you.